EU Internal Market Commissioner Thierry Breton has just published an open letter to Elon Musk on Twitter X. And in this letter, he warns Musk to take measures to contain what he deems harmful content. Now, on its face, that sounds reasonable. It sounds reasonable that platforms should have to restrict harmful content. However, in practice, we know if we read the DSA, the Digital Services Act, that what the EU Commission considers to be harmful content includes, among other things, threats to civic discourse. It includes misinformation and disinformation, public security. All of these terms are notoriously ambiguous and open to abusive interpretations or self-serving interpretations. I pointed this out quite a long time ago, that these terms, such as disinformation and civic discourse, are essentially contestable political terms and not legal terms. And as such, they would be used to further the political ideology and interests of the European Commission. And this letter is proof that that is exactly what is happening. Because Thierry Breton has highlighted in his letter an interview that Musk was going to have with Donald Trump. As Breton puts it in his letter, I am writing to you, I quote, in the context of recent events in the United Kingdom and in relation to the planned broadcast on your platform X of a live conversation between a US presidential candidate and yourself, which will also be accessible to users in the EU. Now, speaking as a European citizen, I do not feel the need to be protected from the content of an interview with a presidential candidate. And I feel infantilized when Thierry Breton suggests that I need to be protected from the content of such an interview. This is an interview of public interest and an interview that European citizens have a right to hear. So I would remind Thierry Breton that no matter how many fudgy terms like disinformation, civic discourse, or public security that he may like to use to justify or to rationalize censorship, he too is bound by the law, and he is bound by the European Charter of Fundamental Rights. And the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights includes, in Article 11, the freedom of expression and information. And that article reads that, I quote, everyone has the right to freedom of expression. This right shall include freedom to hold opinions and to receive and impart information and ideas without interference by public authority and regardless of frontiers. So when Thierry Breton suggests that an interview with the Republican presidential candidate in the United States is something that should trigger censorship or something that should be restricted in the name of protecting us against disinformation, he is making himself the enemy of democracy, the enemy of constitutionalism, the enemy of freedom of speech.